Today's episode was so much fun to record. My guest today was third runner-up on season 7 of The Voice. I remember watching her during her season, and I have to say it was pretty surreal to have her in front of me on my podcast. Katie Kadan is such a bright light, so full of life, one of the nicest and most thoughtful people you will ever meet, and she happens to also have a powerhouse of a voice. But behind all her success was also a lot of heartache. We talk about what was holding her back all the years leading up to The Voice, how her lack of confidence because of being bullied kept her from even trying to pursue music. And then she shares what it was that she found that gave her the incentive and confidence to get up on a stage and do what she had been wanting to do for so long. If you have ever been someone who has struggled with your self-image at any age, if you are someone who carries old wounds from hurtful things people have said or done, you are going to want to listen to this. Katie brings such a great perspective on healing and looking at life through your own beautiful lens. So without further ado, let's get to it. Here's my conversation with the fabulous Katie Kadan. Welcome to the podcast, Katie Kadan.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here today. I wore my fancy pants just for you. I hope people are watching. I saw these and I was like, this is Katie's episode. This is it.
I feel a little underdressed. All I'm saying.
We are completely complimenting each other.
I think so too.
Well, I'm so happy to have you here. And I want to start by saying my first memory of you.
Okay. Oh, wait, I'm nervous. What?
John and I were sitting on the couch watching The Voice. I actually think it's the only season of The Voice we at least watched all the way through. Maybe another couple seasons, like a couple episodes. And you came on the stage and we were both like, just like mind blown. And we were like, this girl can sing. And I just remember like watching the judges, like the reaction of you and just how much everybody loved you. And watching you kind of go through that whole season. So for like the layman person like me who sees The Voice and is just like, oh my gosh, like glitter and rainbows. Tell us, how does one end up on The Voice? Like do you just like go try out? Do somebody tell you about it?
Well, when you're as fabulous as I am, no, I'm kidding.
You're not kidding.
I don't like competition. I've always been terrible at competition and never really necessarily loved those shows in my adult life, I would say.
Had you watched it before?
No.
Okay.
I never had watched it before.
But you knew what it was?
But I knew it was because all the time, I'd get, Katie, we want you to come and you should totally go and audition for The Voice. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no.
No.
How did it happen? It was a weird point in my career. I was a gigging musician in Chicago. Had been doing it for 10 years.
How old were you?
Shoot, this was 3 years ago. So aren't you not supposed to ask the lady's age?
I didn't ask you how old you were. I just asked you how old you were when you got The Voice.
Very, very young. No,
22?
39.
Okay.
39? Yeah, 39.
Okay.
And they reached out to me over Instagram, and one of the guys said, "Hey, we'd love for you to come out and audition in Nashville to come sing out, try out for the show." And I said, "Oh, no, thank you. I'm not really interested." And
was he like, "Wait, what? Of course you are. Everyone's interested."
Right. And I was like, competitions aren't my thing, but thank you for thinking about me. And he's like, "Can you just call me back, please? We could just talk about it." And I said, "Okay." And he talked me into it. And I was like, I might as well try it. And for me, it was a little bit difficult because, and maybe it's my own mind, I was a little bit worried to do it because I felt like, oh, aren't I supposed to not be on a competitive singing show? Aren't I supposed to work from the ground up as a musician?
So you had like a negative kind of impression.
I did.
Okay.
And not for anybody else who is in the show, or I never really watched the show.
Yeah.
And, I just felt like music isn't a competition. I always thought maybe there's a space and place for us all. And I said, making $75 a gig ain't cutting it. Maybe I should try this, And I did. And it ended up being a blast. It was so much fun.
So I would imagine if I am like this person I'm going to go try The Voice, I make my way out there, I stand in line. When they call you to ask you to be on The Voice, are they flying you out? Or are you still getting yourself there? Because you have to go to LA?
So no, like in the beginning, there's an audition. People go to open calls. So they'll go to cities and then people will stand in line. And this is what I told the guy.
You're like, I'm not standing in line.
I'm old. So if I can get a time frame, I'm not going to be there all day long.
Right.
Like, I don't even know if I feel comfortable with it. And it's actually kind of funny because when I went for my audition in Nashville, they didn't pay for you to come out. They thought I lived in Nashville. But I called my mom up. I'm like, I want to go to Nashville. She goes, absolutely. So she came with me. We drove out to Nashville from Chicago, and it was quite the experience. I showed up in this giant, I still have it. I should have wore it. No, it's kind of hot. This furry red fur coat, not real, but many Elmos died to make this coat. So I walk in and the security guard was so mean to me because I brought too many things in.
Oh, like too many
items.
And
I dropped everything on the floor and I was but it went by so quickly. And I was upset about that. I'm like, why is this guy being mean to me? And they're like, Katie, we're ready for you to audition. And I walk in and I'm kind of upset. And I'm like, sorry, I got to put my dead Elmo coat on here. And, I wasn't even thinking maybe I should put myself together. And it ended up being awesome. I made it through the auditions and then they fly you out to LA.
After auditions. Your first audition, you sang?
I sang Baby, I Love You.
Baby, I Love You.
Yeah.
And all 4 chairs turned around.
They did.
Did you, going into this, I always wondered, did you have someone who you're like, oh, I hope they turn around for me? Or were you just open?
Oh my gosh, this is going to sound like the cockiest thing I've ever said. So John Legend turned around first, and I think it was then Blake and then Kelly, and then Gwen wasn't turning. And I'm playing, and I'm like, girl, why is that Gwen Stefani turning around? I think I'm killing it, And then when she finally did, I was like, yeah.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Okay, but you, Kelly got blocked from putting you on her team.
Yeah.
You went on Team
Legend. Yeah.
Were you happy? Would you have gone on Team Kelly?
That was my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I thought she's so bubbly and adorable, and I think I'm kind of a bubbly and adorable.
Yes.
And I thought, that could be kind of fun and see what happens. And it didn't happen.
She was so excited for you. I remember that.
Yeah, she was.
She said, I'm going to read you this. She said, I don't know if you even remember this. When she got blocked, they asked you to introduce yourself. And then she said that you were what they needed in the music industry, just a revamp of actual talent. I mean, coming from someone like Kelly Clarkson, who obviously is just a natural talent herself, are you like aware of what's happening in that moment, or is it just so overwhelming?
You know how you can hear everything on television?
Yeah.
You can't hear anything.
You couldn't?
So it was like, huh? And I remembered, it was such a whirlwind in that time where I kind of forgot what had happened. I remember the performance. I remember actually feeling pretty comfortable on stage.
You look comfortable.
Yeah,
like you just owned it.
Well, I wasn't a 22-year-old girl unsure of herself. I'm kind of an old broad. Like, what do I have to lose other than being myself?
Right.
If America likes me, cool. If they don't, then I'll kind of get a read on. I use it as like a read on would people like my music or like the way that I sing? I never really knew on because I was a club singer in Chicago, and a lot of times singing to tourists.
What is John Legend really like as a person?
A chill guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real laid back.
You liked him?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. He was my, I wouldn't say that to him. I lied to him and I told him, you were my number one pick.
Oh, yeah.
But he was my second choice because I thought, I didn't really know how the game went. I wasn't thinking strategy.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, who would I like to learn from and who's most similar to me? And John Legend is a soul singer and has some jazzy elements. So I thought it might be cool to be on his team, and it was.
Was it, do you think it's a fair representation, what we saw on TV or what we see on TV?
What
these
you
shows?
see on TV, well, television is also television.
Television's television.
What you see is real, and it isn't. It's a waiting game, like.
How many weeks? Like they show it airs once a week.
Months.
How long? It goes months.
So the first time around, I think I was there for a month, and we were with 100 people. Or over 100 people, and it just kept on dwindling and dwindling. And as it, like in the beginning, it kind of started as, I was just telling somebody here earlier, like it started as we were numbers. And then as you grow, you kind of grow in status. I don't know if that was maybe just to keep everybody organized.
Yeah.
And then you had more freedom the further that you got along in the show. Too. So
like do what you want, sing what you want?
I think, no, I don't even mean that. I mean, just like television is, I had so much fun, don't get me wrong. But there was a lot of, when you're not on television, you're sitting back in 18 layers of clothing.
Right.
With about this much makeup. And I would start at like 6 o'clock in the morning, okay? And they'd take it on. And I get hot. Especially when I sing, I'm like dripping sweat. I think I had to have a lady who was designated just to pat me down.
Were the other contestants?
Nothing to do with the voice, but I'm just telling you, that's the stuff you don't see.
Maybe we should find who
Did
that
you
lady
want that
was.
on your podcast? Yeah. Okay, just checking.
And I also would like to know how that becomes one's job.
I don't know.
You're
I'm
just like
sure
a sweat wiper?
she was like the bottom of the. She was like working her way to the top, and she's like,
They're like,
wipe
today
this
you're wiping sweat. She's like,
sweat
yes.
off? What is happening?
Were the other contestants? I would imagine you were one of the oldest at 39.
I was. There was maybe one or two older than me for a little while. And then I was the oldest.
Did you like hang out together?
So I didn't know in the beginning, like, oh, what do you do? Do you stay away from these people? So my plan was to just read a lot.
Like books?
Of books, because I'm like, what am I going to do? Right? And I ended up making so many friends.
That's amazing.
It was actually lovely. And
so it wasn't like jealousy?
I didn't feel it. I'm sure it happened.
Yeah.
But we had we all kind of liked each other. And we started community like outside of what was happening at the show at the hotel we were staying at. Even production would always tell us, holy cow, you guys are the weirdest. You guys like each other.
There's no
you
drama
like
backstage.
Each other. There wasn't, and there was some points where girls would be crying. They're so nervous about it. And I was a vocal coach for 20 years. So I'm like, hey, let me help you. My mom would call me and she's like, Katie, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I want them to do their best job. She goes, you're helping the competition. I said, well,
they should have had
let's
you
make
as
it a competition.
You could have been a voice coach. Was
I know,
your
right?
Family,
I thought maybe if all things don't work out, I can get on that side of the show. Right?
You can replace Gwen. You always see like the family come out. Were they flying your family out, or you're having phone calls with them?
In the beginning, like for the first audition with the chairs turning, that's like the biggest part of the show, right?
Yeah.
They fly your family out, and towards the end they do for the finals if you make it to the finals,
right?
And but I was lucky. There wasn't a show that I did that my family wasn't there. They'd take turns coming out to see me. My mother said, I've never been to LA so much in my life. I think I went like 15 times. And
they
was
were like living it up.
It was fantastic.
Craft services.
Oh my goodness. Oh, craft services. Yeah. I was living that up.
So you came in runner-up, right? Second place?
Third place.
Okay. You definitely should have won. I don't even know who won. Do you? Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay.
A guy named Jake Hoot. Yeah.
Okay. You definitely, in my humble opinion, you should have won, but you don't have to say that. When you leave something like that, and you aren't the first place, do you leave feeling kind of defeated, or did you kind of have like a pep in your step?
My goal wasn't to win.
What was your goal?
My goal was to get third place.
Your goal was to get third place?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever said that.
No, I've never heard that.
Well, I heard horror stories like, you never want to win The Voice. You never want to do that. I'm like, okay. So then my goals, I just was randomly in my, I remember calling my mom, my goal's third place. If I don't make it, I'm okay. And I got to my goal. That was my goal.
And you did it.
And I did it. And there was a little, like towards the end, I'm like, oh crap, I might win this thing.
You're trying to like dumb it down? Not hit a note?
I just kind of had to prepare myself for that, if that happened.
Yeah.
And because, I had it was crazy. You go, Instagram, well, let's talk about that for a second. It's so hard to, as a musician, that's what we need for people to show up to our shows. And, I remember when I got to 2,000 followers, I was like, oh my God, I made 2,000. And then all of a sudden I'm at like 80, 90,000 followers.
On The Voice.
From The Voice.
Right.
Because it's like, oh my goodness. And it was.
Was that a lot of pressure though to have that quick?
It was wonderful.
Yeah. See, I would find that terrifying.
Wonderful. And then I was just like talking to them. I'm like, oh, people gosh darn it.
People like me. They really like me.
It was lovely.
So you left feeling like on a good note.
Oh, absolutely. And the show came at the perfect time in my life. I was ready. I was considering going back to school for psychology.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes music is the same thing, it's the healer. So I just wanted to do something that I can help people. I love people. And I was always interested in that. So I'm like, something's got to come. It's either going to be music or I'm going back to school because I got to figure this thing out. And I had this opportunity.
Came at the right time.
It was like band camp on steroids. Really, when do you get staging like that? When do you get a woman who's like, "Hey, I'm gonna dress you." Yeah. Okay.
They give you all that.
and listened, and they really did. Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, "Girl, you want to put me in what?" They tried to put me in heels.
Do you have a choice to say what you want to wear or not?
Opinion? Yes. I felt very heard.
Okay.
But then I'm pretty easygoing too. Yeah. So I would try different things. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work.
You weren't like diva-like backstage.
I don't think I was.
Yeah.
No.
Someone's going to write in, I'd like you to have me on the podcast. And I'll tell you, she'll be like, hi, this was her sweat wiper. I would like to be on the
I'm her sweat wiper, and I have to go for therapy on the weekly.
She was an absolute
She's really sweaty.
Could you have done a show like that? You were 39. Could you have done it at 19?
No.
When you see these kids,
no way.
17, 18.
There was kids on the show, like 15, 14, and I'm thinking, man, this is a lot of pressure. I mean, you're Canadian, so Star Search. Did you guys have Star Search?
Yes, I really wanted to be on Star Search.
Too.
I don't even know what my talent would have been. I just really wanted to be on it. I think I thought I would sing. I don't know if I would have gotten anywhere, but that's an amazing show. Yeah.
Wait, you could sing?
No, I'm just saying I wanted to. That was my dream. My dream was, that would have been my dream. Star Search.
Star Search used to be my dream too.
And totally forgot about that show. But would you have had, I think, remembering watching your audition versus seeing some of the kids, and they can sing. They look great. They look the part and they can sing, but you can just feel the timidness. And sometimes you even hear the judges say, you need to relax and take a breath.
I thought that was the one thing I didn't really care for. Now, I love the kids, and we'd play Uno in the foyer all the time with them and their parents, And I'd, train them about hey, this life is tough. You want to hear some stuff? Auntie Katie's going to teach you.
Suck it up.
So I feel like it was a little bit weird, though, that they have kids versus adults. I don't think that, hey, why don't you just have a kid show?
Yes.
Why don't you just have an adult show? But
it
was still fun. It was very stressful for a lot of people.
The pressure of it.
Yeah. I took it seriously, but I didn't hang my life on it. If I didn't win The Voice, winning The Voice, not winning The Voice, is it going to make or break me? No.
Right.
I went in there let's see if people like to watch me on television. I know I'm a character. I've always been a character.
Yeah.
Let's see if they like this character named Katie. And I'm just going to be myself. So I
Had you been actively pursuing music before that? Like after school?
I was in my own way of, as a gigging musician. I really didn't know how.
Had you always been into music? You always sang?
Always.
I know you come from a musical family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always singing in the house, music.
Absolutely.
Always wanted to sing.
It was the one thing I knew I wanted to be a singer since I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
Because I came out singing. My mom always like, Katie, you came out singing. Music was the only thing that calmed me. Music was the only thing that motivated me. Music was a part of my spiritual life, and I'm like, it makes sense.
Did you ever do performances as kids? Were you like a child performer?
Mostly in church. So we grew up in the church, and like when you grow up in the church, hey, you're 2, you could sing. Oh yeah, we got a free singer, and it was great. But it was great because you got to use the talents.
Yeah.
And my mom was awesome.
Yeah.
And that's where we learned. And she was a folk singer herself, grew up in the 60s and was never professionally, but she should have been professional.
Yeah, I've heard your mom sing with you. She's a great singer, like a harmony singer too, with you. Well, and she homeschooled all of you, right?
Just me and my sister.
You and your sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were the cool homeschooled kids when people weren't homeschooled. I remember she wouldn't let us out of the house from 8 o'clock in the morning to 2:30 or 3 because she's like, I don't want people thinking. I'm like, Mom, I'm done by 1. I don't care. You're gonna sit there and read or something because
I don't want anyone to know.
I don't want people to think that I'm not teaching you.
Did you like being homeschooled?
I did.
Yeah.
I did, but my poor mom, I gave her a run for her money. I really did. She's just a fantastic teacher.
Yeah.
And so it was wonderful. And she was totally into, and I'm so ADD that it was great. If I went a direction, she kind of like went along with me and used it in an educational way. She was very smart about that.
Right.
So I loved it.
Did she want you to pursue music when you were done?
Absolutely.
She did. She was was she trying to encourage you to go start a band or move to New York?
No, but I did move to New York.
Oh, you did?
I did.
For music?
My older brother is 11 years older. He moved for his career. And he's like, Katie, why don't you just move out here for a while and see if you like it? I'm like, yeah. So as soon as I was just freshly 19, and I moved to New York City, and I loved it. And I thought I was going to pursue Broadway and all of those wonderful things, but I was so insecure. I couldn't do it.
That's what held you back? Because, I mean, you are Broadway tied up in a nice, perfect bow. Like, perfect bow.
Something familiar. Sorry.
But yes, when you walk into a room, I feel like jazz hands. I just want to start.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just you.
That makes me, I
you
love
exude that. Did you ever try?
Never spirit fingers?
No, just jazz hands.
Okay.
Just jazz hands.
Okay.
Did you ever try Broadway?
I did. I auditioned years ago for Hairspray. The first.
Did you?
First, it was Hairspray was just going up. And I was a huge John Waters fan. Huge. Well, my mom was super Christian, so I had to sneak to the library and I'd get John Waters films and watch them at night when everybody was sleeping because they were kind of raunchy. But Hairspray was amazing.
Yeah.
Hairspray was
Did you
oh my
not?
God.
There's no way you didn't get the part.
Well, I'm almost 6 foot tall and 5'10", and Hairspray, the leading girl was a short.
Okay, so it was for the lead girl. Okay.
It was for the lead girl.
Okay.
And I wanted that part so bad. And I didn't know the music yet because they didn't want you to audition with the music. They wanted you to audition with a song from the 60s. So I think I did Dancing in the Street.
Okay.
I killed it. I made it to the news, Channel 7 News.
Where was this? This is in New York?
City. I flew out to New York City with a friend of mine. And I'm like, a fat girl lead who is the leading lady and gets the hottest guy.
Right.
Yeah, I want to be that girl. I would kill that part. And it was because of my height.
Were the parts on Broadway very specific to that? You would feel like you couldn't audition for certain parts? Do they actually say this is what we're looking for?
So Before that, I don't even know. I think I moved back. I don't even remember when that was. I'm so terrible with timelines. But yeah, when I don't know if it's like that anymore. I haven't auditioned for something in years and years and years. But back in the day, I'd never get the parts I wanted. Never, even for community theater, anything. I'm like, man, I could just give me a chance.
Yeah.
I can make people believe it.
Right.
You know, I remember telling a director, man, you should have really had me.
Yeah.
Because I could really do it. And so here I'd be
Was
singing.
this like in high school and stuff? Or like
early 20s.
Okay.
Like, and stuff like that. I'd get involved in community. Because I didn't start music professionally till I was 31.
So in your 20s, you finish high school. This is your time to like be out in the world, like living the dream, pursuing all these things.
Didn't do it.
And I didn't do it.
I didn't do it. I was figuring myself out. I mean, in my 20s, I was a hot mess. But also had some of the times of my life too. I traveled too.
Okay.
Quit school, went to school, kind of liked it, left school, waitress, bartender. I mean, I did every kind of job you could think of.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure it out. And I really never did. And it wasn't until, you know, I was in group therapy, later on in life where somebody challenged me, like, what do you want to do? I said, I just want to sing. I want to write music. I want to do what I love to do, but I have no idea how to do it. And it wasn't until I went to an open mic, a challenge from my friend Susan, who's a fantastic life. She's my life coach now. Still, challenged me and said, you know, Katie, you have to go to an open mic. You got 2 weeks to figure it out, and all of us girls are going to show up. And we're going to come and support you. And I made them chicken and dumplings. I remember I made a big vat of chicken and dumplings. I said, well, you're coming over to dinner first.
Yeah.
Have a drink, and then we'll have some drinks at the show. And I was so nervous. And I remember the man who was putting on the open mic. It was a bar called the Underground Wonder Bar. And
the Underground Wonder Bar.
The Underground Wonder Bar.
I like it. I like it.
Woman owned. It was amazing. And he had a real deep voice. And he's talking like this. He's like, Katie Kadan, you're going to do one song. That's it. I'm like, okay. And so I started playing, and then he'd come up to the side of the piano. He's like, keep going. And I'm like, okay. So I played everything I knew. And then I got offered a job. And 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, can you do 2 hours of music? And I said yes, because that was my year of saying yes. And that's where it started.
What do you? Why did you get a year of saying yes at that age and not at 20 or 21 or 18?
Because fear sounds weird. Fear was my master.
Fearful of
being a failure. I didn't look the part. I always knew I never looked the part. I never fit in. I was always like, who is this wild, crazy, tall woman who is not like everybody else? You just don't fit in that. And, especially, societal pressures were big. I hated myself. I didn't like what I looked like. I was
as a kid.
In my 20s, it was terrible. Hated my body. Talk about body dysmorphia. I dealt with that. I mean, now I realize, that's what it was.
Was there online stuff back then, or was it mostly from like people you knew?
So my family was like way off in the sense of technology.
Okay, so you did not.
So we
have
got a
social
computer
media.
After people had had a computer for a long time. So we were behind on that. And I mean, I went to the library when people stopped going to the library, and I was still going to the library.
You were still there using the
Wi-Fi. Using the cards and everything. Why do I feel like shit? We're gonna look under, And that was my window to the world, right? I allowed fear to hold me back, and it got comfortable. It got comfortable, and it was familiar. And I think sometimes, even when things are so maybe not bad, definitely it was bad for me. The comfort of, at least if I don't try, it's just easier.
Yeah.
Because what if I do try and I fail?
Right.
What if I try and I suck at it. I totally bomb. You know?
I mean, you must have, though, known you could sing.
Absolutely.
So was the insecurity with like that, or just on being judged that you didn't fit what
it was what
you
I
were
looked
seeing?
like.
Yeah.
I was completely confident in my voice. I was not confident in my playing because I play the piano too. I'm like, oh, never good enough in that. The one thing
that you knew
that I knew for certain I could sing, and there were times in my life, I think more classically, I was trained classically too, vocally, and that was more terrifying. That was more, I was, especially for opera or anything like that, it's kind of bougie.
Yeah, it's bougie.
It's real bougie. And so sometimes I'd notice myself holding back vocally, like even in choirs where I'd try out for auditions. I'm like, why am I not getting that part? Because I'd hold back. But when I was free and not around people, not feeling judged and polished and perfect, my Italian wasn't on, or my embouchure was off, or whatever they freaking call it.
Beep.
Beep.
No, you're not beeping.
So it was just that was some pressure. But then I realized, you know what? I'm just gonna sing and get into a genre that I don't have to be perfect. So it was soul. It was gospel. It was, I could connect to this music. It doesn't have to be perfect. With this kind of music, I can, even rock and roll, I can make mistakes and they can be kind of wonderful.
Right.
So I played with genre. I sang everything I possibly could. And I learned to be good at that. So my vocally, when I was on a stage, if somebody gave me a stage, you would never see insecurity because I didn't feel it.
So you never felt judged once you got on the stage. It was the leading up to it. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
That was isn't that weird though? It was the one place I didn't care. But in life, I cared too much.
Did you, growing up, have that same care and fear of being judged?
Oh God, yeah, because I was.
Bullied.
I was bullied big time.
Yeah.
Bullied big time. Bullied by people that were close to me, bullied by kids at school. I didn't start off homeschooled. I went to a private school in the neighborhood, and it was just, I remember we lived right across the street from the school, so we called it the blacktop. I would just run across the blacktop, but they wanted you to go at the crosswalks, whatever. And I would avoid the crosswalks because it was always the 7th and 8th grade boys that would be mean to me and say horrible things, and I'd run home crying. And so I would sneak. I remember like sneaking around the convent because it was a Catholic school, and like sneaking behind the bushes and then running home real quick so that the boys couldn't see me. Yeah. It was rough.
Did you ever tell anyone? Like, did the teachers know? Yeah,
Never.
you just internalized
Not even my
it.
mom who wanted me who I talked to her about everything.
Yeah.
I didn't. It wasn't until she said, hey, I think I'm going to homeschool you. What does that mean? You're going to learn at home. And I burst into tears and told her everything. And she's like, why didn't you tell me?
Wow.
And not only was I bullied by kids, I was also bullied by teachers. I was really don't
if
be
you're
shocked,
going to
John.
say I was really quiet,
I was really quiet.
I might actually drop this mic.
I was really quiet. I know I can't shut up, but I was really quiet. And even the teachers would be like, I think something's wrong with your daughter, kind of a thing, because I refused to talk in school because if I did something wrong or if I wanted to do things right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it because you didn't want the attention on you, or you were just the fear of failure? Both.
I was like the tallest chick in school, even over the boys. You don't want to stick out.
You don't
want to
stand out in middle school.
You just want to be one of the others.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. Yeah.
And you said that you taught voice to kids for a job for a little while. Did you get a lot of kind of healing almost from that a little bit, like helping them get through things with music?
I'll tell you, sometimes my vocal room was therapy. That's why I wanted to get into therapy.
For the kids?
Absolutely.
Wow. Like they would tell you things or you could just feel it?
They tell me everything. They would tell me everything. I'm like, don't tell me things. I don't want to know. I'm not your mother. And they're like, I can't talk to my mom. I'm like, oh, fine, go. Katie, I can't sing right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got to sing at some point.
Yeah.
No, we just need to talk about things, and they'd be weeping in my arms and telling me how they feel. And I'd build them up. And I'd say, funnel that emotion and put it into your music. And sometimes I'd have kids who are okay singers turn out to be bomb-ass singers.
Wow.
Because they were taking their pain, taking all their stuff and putting it into their music. And my number one thing was always, if you don't feel it, you're wasting your time and everybody else who's listening. You have to feel it.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes a difference. You can hear a great singer a lot, but when there's no emotion and you're not connected to the song and try to find connection, and it was music where it was helping healing these kids and helping them find themselves. And it was wonderful because then it was building also community. And I think that's when things started happening for me too. My mom found this great choir when I was a kid. And I remember she was really worried about putting me in because I was super quiet. And they had a parent meeting and she came out and I was walking down the street arm in arm with like 15 other kids. And she's like, who is this kid? Because I found my tribe.
You found your tribe. Yeah.
I found my tribe. I
and
found
what is that
musicians.
like? What age was that?
It was 10 or 11, I think, where, I'm like, I can find, there's other kids that love to sing like me, because singers are weird. We constantly sing.
Wait, I might...
You might know
I might know that. I might.
Right?
I might be able to confirm that. Yes.
Yeah.
Not that they're weird.
Totally.
I'm going to have to take that back or edit that out. But they do like to sing all of the time. All of the time.
And they're weird.
And they're absolutely not weird, for the record.
Weird in the best way. Wonderfully weird.
When you... did you ever think, I've often wonder, like people who are, I think there's some people who can say, oh yeah, I was bullied in school. And then there are people who I think would say, like, I was ruthlessly bullied in school to the point where it almost crippled me as an adult.
It was not at school, actually. That wasn't the stuff that hurt as much, although it was. It was public humiliation. I remember, people are cruel.
Yeah, and adults can be just as bad
as kids. And I remember,
kids.
you walk, what do you do when you're a teenager? You walk around with your friends around the city, right? You're walking down the street, and then other kids are cruel too. And if you don't know your group of kids, they're going to pick on the fat girl.
Yeah.
Or drive by, I'd call it the drive-by screams of like mean boys screaming out their windows. Why are you with that fat girl? You'd be humiliated because you're the only chick who's fat.
Yeah.
And you're with all your skinny friends. And then they're sticking up for you because they're your girls. But you're humiliated. And internalizing that.
Yeah.
Internalizing things grow.
Yeah.
And they became
Did you have like a coping, did you like play music, sing? Like how, when you go home at night to your bedroom, did you have a coping mechanism or were you just kind of going
I would write it in my journal, but I thought it was a coping mechanism. I thought it was journaling in the right way.
Okay.
It ended up being self-hate. It ended up because I was too embarrassed to even tell my family because I didn't also want to be pitied. Right. I also didn't want to seem that it bothered me. So I would act tough, but shut down by myself. And that was a very dangerous and scary place.
Yeah.
And, not too long ago, I was just going through storage a couple of weeks ago and I found another journal that I had to rip out pages of my old journal because I didn't want to hold on to that.
Because of what you'd written about yourself.
Yeah. Just, I was the biggest bully.
Of yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what happened. I became the biggest bully. I believed the lies. Even though I had so much love around me, I couldn't see the love because I was so focused on that. And then what was my coping mechanism? Obviously, for me, it was also food. I had a very unhealthy relationship with food and I used it to keep people away.
Yeah.
Keep guys away because I was afraid of them because I was bullied by them and made to feel less than. And so, like, screw you. I'll just be alone and fat and happy.
Yeah.
You know, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Did you ever go to therapy? I don't know if you want to talk about that or not. But...
Oh, yeah, girl, let's go deep. No, I'm kidding. That's a fake cry.
And next.
I thought I could do it.
And she's crying. Somebody get her the tissues.
No. So, I didn't until I was in my 20s. I knew that I had to. Early 20s. Because
people, let's be honest, in your early 20s, like I feel like now therapy, people throw the word therapy around all the time. My therapist, here's a therapist. But back then,
no, it wasn't.
It was very like you talked about it on the down low and on the hush hush. And
I remember my mom went to therapy, a therapy group with her siblings.
Wow.
And
like as an adult?
As an adult.
Wow.
And they all like worked. There was this like family thing, and they decided to go together because things back in the day weren't talked about. Now everything's talked about, right? Right? We're
too much so.
You want to know about this? No, I'm kidding. So everything wasn't talked about. So I remember my mom coming home and being like, it was really nice to be with my brother and sisters and like go through some stuff. I'm like, wow, that's really brilliant. And so then through that, me and my sister were like, maybe we should try one of those things. But like not with any other family. Like me and you, you know, we were the two homeschooled ones. Like, should we try it? Because we both have stuff that we need to deal with. And I would say group therapy saved my life.
Really?
Not just one-on-one, which is good.
Yeah.
But I feel like if it was the group, it was dealing with the frustration, because there'd be some ladies in this group that they were crazy too. Okay, get it?
So is group therapy like a therapist and then people with the same common problem, or you can have any problem?
It was whatever. Okay. And it was women, which was great, which was empowering. But it was wonderful because it helped you to also get the focus so much off of yourself.
Oh, right.
There is such thing, and I'm a firm believer of it. Of course, you know, you got love yourself. Do you. It's all great. But you got to love other people.
Yeah.
You got to, for me, I had to take the focus because my depression was self-centeredness for me. It became ugly. And I was becoming not the person I knew I was. Like, by nature, I mean, I'm sassy. I'm always going to be that way. But I was starting to get mean. And I was starting to hurt the people that I loved the most. I was like, I better do something about this because these are the people who are in my court. And I had to do a lot of self-work. And through that the group therapy was great because I had to learn patience. Because there was some of these women I wanted to strangle their necks. I was like, if this lady don't shut up.
Come on, Susan.
I am so done.
But I do think like too, like when you say a lot of my depression came from self-centeredness and I had a lot of anger. I had a lot of hate towards other people. I mean, I think too, at some point, you or anybody who's been through something as a child, you have to cut yourself a lot of slack.
You're right.
That there was a reason you got to that place. And that reason was other people.
Yeah.
And at some point you have to, are we going to call in little Joey from fourth grade or the 7th grade crosswalk?
Right. Oh, girl, I had a list. I can't wait.
A list in your journal?
I can't wait till I'm 18. I am so going to talk to, I'm going to even call her out. Her name was Mrs. Nicolak. She was a mean, evil witch. In my 2nd grade class, she was so mean. She used to make fun of a little boy who stuttered and everything. It was terrible.
Teacher?
Yeah. Oh. But those were the days where
you
nuns
could do that.
Still kind of whacked
you if you got it a line.
Okay.
Wow.
I just aged myself.
Yeah.
But like, it was, I'm like, I'm going to tell her off. I'm gonna, you know, but no.
But it has to trickle into when you're feeling that. I just think like, to put all of that on yourself is not, there's a reason you'd gotten to that place.
There was a reason where I got to that place. And, you know, working through that, connecting with my faith also was great because my faith was also then became my own. Even though I'm a swearing lady who loves to swear, I still love God.
You have not sworn
I think pretty
single
good.
time on this podcast.
Because I'm classy as shit.
And
Oops.
you're out. You're canceled. You're off the show.
Let me get a sip of this coffee.
If I get the giggles, we're both in trouble. All right. Group therapy has saved your life.
Yeah, it really helped me. And it took time. And then it wasn't like a constant thing because, I was a young 20-something not having a lot of money. And so, it would be like on and off and on and off. And figuring myself out. I always had a creative outlet, though. Like, even throughout my jobs, I had to sing. I had to write. I finally got to a point where, like, well, maybe I can be a songwriter because I don't look the part. I mean, they're not going to hire a chubby chick.
You had that
to
full
sing.
belief that you
I really believe. Well, think about it. There were no fat singers, really. I mean, Mama Cass, maybe Aretha Franklin, but sometimes she was skinny. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't a ton.
Yeah.
And then every woman was glamorous and beautiful and had long legs. I got short arms and short legs. We talked about that before. But I was just like,
did you ever even try? Like, did you ever try and someone was like, yeah, you're not what we're looking for physically?
Never, because I didn't even know how to try.
Yeah.
Like, I would go to piano bars and I'd say, hey, can I sit in and sing a couple songs? Yeah, and I people come up like, why aren't you famous? Why aren't you famous?
Yeah.
I've had it all my life.
But you didn't have that confidence to do it.
Yeah, I wasn't
until
ready
you
for
found.
It wasn't until I started singing and practicing at the Underground Wonder Bar. It was a woman-owned bar. And that was really cool because the owner, Lonnie Walker, she was awesome, very, free spirit.
Yeah.
And she'd always tell me, Katie, your 2 hours are your 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And with your 2 hours, I'm not telling you what to do. You're the boss. I'm like, what? She gave me power. And she said, explore. I'm not that good. I had to do repeats of songs because I didn't have
enough in your library.
I had to call my uncle and go, can you play with me? Because I'm terrified. And he did for like a year because I didn't know how to do it by myself right away. And then I learned, being a band leader for years, I sucked at it. And also being a woman and you're surrounded by men all the time. And as you could tell, I had issues with men because of my insecurities and bad experiences. I kind of generalized them.
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought they were all against me. So I didn't want to think anything negative about me. So I didn't know how to take ownership. I didn't know how to kind of take, not control, but kind of, leadership. I didn't know how to lead.
Yeah. Because you want to stand up to them almost.
Yeah. And, and everybody has opinion on what they think you should do. And I just would take it all the time. And it wasn't until I had a lot of different bands and played with a lot of different people. And I'd always have to go back to, I'm not playing with anybody. I'm just playing by myself. And, at the show. And I remember I did one show and I think there was like 15 people in the audience. Yeah. It was a Sunday night. Nobody was there. I was like, whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to say whatever. I'm going to play like I've never played. I had a break in me, and a good break. They were uninterested. They could care less what was going on. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to pretend like they're not even here. And I'm going to sing this song for me.
Yeah.
Songs for me. And I'm going to sing as if all of nature and everybody's listening, that's enough. And I remember closing my eyes and not really, and that's like the number one thing you shouldn't do as a singer. Don't close your eyes. Don't disconnect from the audience. Close my eyes. I start singing the song. And then it gets real quiet and I open up and everybody's engaged.
Wow.
And then I'm like, oh, I could do that? And that's when it was, oh, wow. I started tapping into my power, my superpowers. Yeah. Like, oh, my gift that I know I've always had, but I didn't realize like, oh, wow, I did that. Oh, wow. it's okay to not be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
When I do feel things, people start to listen. Oh, when I'm being myself, they like it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was such a great learning time. And then I remember that happening. And after that, shows were better. I started getting a little bit better at delegating in bands.
This
Still
is
not
before The
great.
Voice,
This
or
was all before The Voice. And then when The Voice came, I was ready.
You were ready.
I was ready because what did I have to lose?
Mm.
I'm going to go in, you know, and be me.
Yeah.
Be myself. And even before it was awesome. So that's why everybody's like, man, you made it look so easy, because it was.
Did you get messages from young women when you were on The Voice thanking you for maybe being someone that they finally were like, someone that looks like me, someone I can relate to?
Yeah, and then all this stuff I'm telling you
Yeah.
completely disappears, right? And it doesn't really disappear, but then I forgot about that. I was like, okay, I'm too old for the music business. I'm too fat for the music business. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. And body positivity movement, it just started, really.
When did that start?
I don't even know.
5 years
But
ago, maybe?
Probably around that time, I would say.
What were your thoughts on it when you, like, are you looking at it
really
thinking,
know
thank
about it.
goodness? Or are you like, I don't even know what this is for?
You know how I noticed it was happening when clothes started getting better?
Okay.
Shopping for clothes for a fat girl is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Kind of still, it's a lot easier. It was a nightmare. It was, like teenagers, that's their lives.
Yes.
The mall was hell for me. I had to go to the mall and walk in a bunch of skinny girls' clothes. And I wanted those clothes.
Yeah.
I wanted to wear those clothes too. I wanted to be cool, but I had to go to freaking Lane Bryant and wear the same shit my mom wears, and make it look cool. No problem with Lane
No
Bryant.
offense to Lane.
I still
our
shop
sponsor,
your
Lane
underwear.
Bryant.
Awesome.
Just kidding. Sorry, Lane Bryant. But you don't want to dress
But
like
when
your
you're a
mom,
teenager,
of course.
yeah,
and
that's
I think
an
like
adult store.
what you were saying, when you are a middle schooler or a teenager, you don't want to stand out.
No.
You want to wear what everyone else is wearing.
Exactly.
My daughter and her friends, they all wear the exact same sweatshirt. And I'm like, what a different sweatshirt.
It's so crazy. Now the kids love the sweatshirts.
Oh, oversized sweatshirts. Nothing is form-fitting unless you put on a swimwear, and then you might as well be wearing nothing. So it's either or. It's either or. It's like a size triple XL sweatshirt for a 12-year-old and leggings, and then they go to the beach and it's basically nothing. There's no
strings and
triangles, strings and butt cheeks. That's
strings and butt
See, that's what you could have had to deal with. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know what's better.
Nah, I'm not into strings and butt cheeks for me.
Do you think the body positivity? So from my perspective, as a mother of a middle school girl, I love like what you're seeing or saying about like the clothing and like seeing models on like these popular sites that have always just been these stick thin women that honestly, regardless of your weight, most women don't look like
that. Yeah.
So as the mother of a daughter, I definitely appreciate that. I don't think it's absolutely changed the problem though. I mean, I think you still have the extreme.
It hasn't changed though. Like it's the beginning of change.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
No changes is you can't have a perfect system that works when I think we're all trying to figure that out. From body positive, so I didn't realize there was that much community, and it was until my friend, who's an amazing woman, her name is Rebecca, she started a company called Build the Movement. She lives in Seattle, Washington. I've known her since I was a baby, since I was born, because her mom was best friends with my mom growing up. And she is the most non-judgmental, genuine, like one of the most genuine, non-judgmental people I've ever met. And so we were bartering. So I'd give her daughter vocal lessons and she would give me movement lessons. And And I had a back injury, and I wasn't able to go for long walks because that was my thing. I could walk, and I really couldn't. And so she helped me, you know, heal really.
Mm.
And I think more than my body, she helped me heal my heal my soul, because I remember sitting down and she said, "Well, what are your goals, Katie?" I said, "Well, I need to lose weight because I'm fat and miserable." Okay. She goes, "Do you want to, are you sure you don't want to stay at your, what do you mean stay at my weight?" She goes, "Do you have any community? Do you have fat community?" I said, "What's that?
Yeah.
What's fat community?"
What is fat community?
And she's like, "Other women who are fat that you could talk to." No, is that a thing?
And you didn't. You didn't have
I was
friends
always the fat girl.
Okay.
I did 2 friends, and we could talk about those things, and it was wonderful. But we were the fat girls. You don't talk. The word fat, got it on my earrings. The word fat was a terrifying word.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear it because I knew, like, oh crap, they're gonna know. They know.
Yeah.
And she told me there's so many great. She goes, "I know some people." She's like, "Let me send them to you on Instagram." There was closed Facebook forums that I could get into, and I started asking questions to other women around the world. I would like to ski. I can. I would like to do ballet. I can. Yeah. I would like to start running. I can.
How old would you
I didn't
around
start
there?
running. Let me tell you, that's a whole other story. Maybe one day. But
mid 20s?
I would say mid-30s.
Oh, mid-30s.
I got into yoga and I got pretty good at it. Like, I couldn't believe what my body could do.
Why do you think it took you till your mid-30s and someone else saying you could, for you to think you could do certain activities? Is it just because when you looked at them, these girls didn't look like you?
I didn't know that's what I had to do. I guess I was blind to things.
Yeah.
I remember sitting down with her and I was weeping. Like, "Oh my God, I'm miserable." And you know, I hate myself. She goes, "Katie, you can't bring hanging on your body." I said, "What?" "I want you to put your hands on your stomach." Because I said, "I hate my stomach. My stomach's huge. It's gross. It's disgusting." She goes, "I want you to start," and she started explaining what happens inside of your stomach and how it digests its food. I was thinking, what the hell is she telling me about this, right? And she's like, "I want you to start rubbing your stomach. And when you rub your stomach this way, this is where the food's going. Give thanks to your stomach for doing what your stomach can do." And I remember doing that, and just, it was like, I was free. She's like, "Start being kind to yourself." And I was like, what? This is a thing?
Yeah.
I can actually start liking myself where I'm at, right here, right now. That's a thing. It was freedom. It was, and then I stopped giving a shit.
Wow.
I stopped caring.
Yeah.
You know what? This is the body that I'm in. And the body that I'm in, I'm going to put my best clothes on and I'm going to feel sexy. I could be sexy.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to be sexy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Then I realized, shit, I've been sexy this long and I didn't realize it. It was like I'm sorry, God, come to Jesus moment where I was just like, whoa, there was a freedom and I got excited.
Yeah.
And then I started looking at other women and realized how much I judged them. Why is that girl wearing that? What is she thinking? I was stopped. And then I was like, whoa. I started looking in the mirror and thinking, Katie, build your sisters up.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that was something that was really in what we need for us ladies. If we build each other up, man, this world would be way different.
I feel like there are so many memes, Instagram posts, t-shirts, I mean, women build each other up by this, my sisterhood of tribe. And there are some days when I truly will see that and I think this is just a lie. This is not what we do if we're really being honest. And every mean message I have ever received, 100% of every mean message has come from a woman. And guess what? 99% are all over the age of 40. And I think that we love to say women, 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 and we're trying to build this sisterhood of building women up, but we're our own worst critics.
Absolutely.
To each other and also to ourselves. And, I don't think you need to be overweight or X pounds overweight according to whatever society tells you to have self-hate. And I would
absolutely
love to find a single woman who has never picked herself apart or had a moment where she hated her body.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
And you can always find...
But here's the thing, too, even on the fat girl side. So what does that skinny girl have to worry about? She's perfect. She's gorgeous. What does she have? I'm the one who has struggle.
Yeah.
And then when you start hearing stories, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we feel the same?
Yeah.
Because we are the same.
Yeah.
We are the same.
I guarantee she's not looking at you going, well, thank God I don't look like that. What she's doing is looking at herself and saying, I wish I could get rid of this love handle. Right. I wish I could get rid of the skin on my thighs. Like, that's what I'm doing, right? And there's always going to be someone who's thinner than me that I might go, oh, well, if I just didn't have cellulite like her. But there's also always going to be someone bigger than me that's going to say, what is she talking about? Exactly. She doesn't need to worry about losing weight. You. And we just get in this vicious cycle of ourselves. And I am trying to break that with my daughter who's in middle school. But I will tell you firsthand, that cycle is alive and well in middle school. It has not gotten better. So, I think even when you say body positivity has started, I would agree that it has started, but it's not just for the fat girls
and just for girls either. It's
for girls in general.
But it's for, I mean, that's who I relate to, right? Because I'm a girl. It's for everybody. I mean, I've known people in the body, like people are all about the movement who are very angry and kind of mean to skinny people.
Wow.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing.
Why do you think that
was done to you?
Is it from years of being?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Bitterness, letting, you gotta let it go.
Yeah.
I had to let it go because it controlled me. Like it was all wrapped up in fear.
Did that community, the Facebook groups and stuff help you with that, letting go?
It did. It did. And then my own self journey too. Then I started doing healthy journaling. And, where I'd have a journal where like, I just got to get out what's going on inside my head. And then started, journaling in a different way too, where it's like, what can I do rather than thinking on terms of like, I need to lose weight. What are things, what can I do that serves me? What makes me feel good? What makes me feel good? Oh, maybe when I eat this, it makes me feel really good. How does it make my body feel? How does it make my joints feel? How does it make my head feel? Am I feeling tight? Rather than listening to my body in that way, rather than like, I have to do what everybody, I've also been super abused by doctors. Oh,
in what sense? You mean like with them telling you to lose weight?
Since I was a kid, it was, I stopped going to take care of myself.
Wow.
Because doctors were bullies. Horrible.
Still today?
Oh, yeah. It still happens. Absolutely, it still happens. There are fantastic doctors, and I hear people who have wonderful doctors and that work with them in really great ways. And because of that, it wasn't good for my health. But I was so afraid to go to the doctor. Yeah. I know so many women, I can't go to the doctor. Why? What do you mean you have to go to the doctor? Well, I can't because she told me to lose 10 pounds, and until I lose that 10 pounds, I'm not going. That is a very common thing, and abuse by doctors is a very common thing. So, too, for me, I was terrified. My mom sometimes, when I was a kid, would have to talk to the nurse and say, my daughter is freaking out. She's afraid that the doctor's going to weigh her and say all this stuff. So can she not do that? I'm like, Mom, call the doctor, call them, pre-warn them, because it was hard.
You would ask your mom to do that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I would bust out crying, like it was terrible.
Do you hear that from other women too?
It's a common thing. And I thought I was the only one. You think
you do think you're the only one. Yeah.
I'm the only one. So keep it to yourself. I'm the only one,
And I do think that's what I was saying to someone the other day about podcasts. One of the things I love about podcasts is it's a way for women to listen in private, to not have to be part of the conversation, to just be a fly on the wall about something that they have been going through and thought they were the only ones. And to just be like, wow, really? Someone else goes through this? Like, this is their experience? Because there's a lot of things women aren't talking about because they think they're the only ones. Like, I did not know that about the doctor. And I'm sure that there's someone listening that's like, wait, I thought that only happened at my doctor.
Yeah.
Which is really shameful.
Well, I mean, there's know-it-alls everywhere, right?
There is know-it-alls everywhere. Do you think
and I remember thinking there's an old man, he was like, well, you're too fat and you got to lose weight. And he had a big old belly. And I remember the buttons.
Of course he did.
I'm like, dude, you're about to lose your shirt.
Yes.
And thinking, are you kidding me?
I do think the older generation too is very critical by nature. I think they were raised like that. But sometimes I think you're like, wait, what? Like, you could also lose the weight. You're telling somebody else to wait. But it's just, I think it's maybe a little bit of a generational thing.
Absolutely.
As well. I don't know. And people,
for sure. But even generational, I mean, like, generational or not, is mean.
It's mean.
And like, nobody knows their body better than yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're with it every day, right? Nobody knows Jen like you do.
Yeah.
Nobody knows me like I do.
Yeah.
If we would just take the time, if you just take the time to listen, even if I'm wrong, just take the time to listen.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of the problem. We got to listen to each other. We got to hear each other's stories. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for listening to my story. Sometimes, do you really want to hear my story? What's the big deal? But like you were even saying earlier, having women come to me on Instagram like, oh, it's so great to see you as a representation of me. Oh, okay. I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Katie, you're so confident. I hope one day I can be.
And you're like, wait, how did I get to be a role model? Yeah.
Baby.
Do you try to message people back?
Yeah. I try to. I'm like, girl, that is a daily practice.
Yeah.
Sometimes minute by minute, second by second.
You still feel like you do things daily?
I have to remind myself. Negativity is so accessible.
Yeah. Every time you pick up your phone, every time you walk out the door, you look in the mirror.
It peaks, it whispers in your ear, whether it be from somebody or not. I'm at the point in my life, I don't read many comments, more messages, because, people can hide behind a computer, right? And they can say whatever they want to say because everybody's the critic.
Yes.
I learned that. I'm not going to, from the voice too, because people would be crying. Oh my God, they think of this. Why are you reading it?
Yeah.
Who cares? You can't read that.
Yeah.
Don't give it, you can't give life to that. And so I think that was, but you have to remind yourself.
Do you have a pretty supportive online community? Like,
I have
your social media?
Amazing one.
That's awesome.
Can I tell you that I don't think, maybe it's happened, maybe because I don't pay attention enough. Watch, it might be covered all over it. Nobody's really ever bullied me.
Wow.
I think in the beginning on YouTube, I never even read a YouTube comment on me ever.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
Yeah.
I can't. I've spent so many years worrying about what other people think, about what I have to do. I can't. It's nice to let it go. I feel skinnier than I've ever have. That was worse than having some extra meat on your butt. You know what I mean?
That's the emotional weight
is unbelievably awful. You know it. It sucks.
I do. And you and I have talked about this before, and I think like we were saying, I think there's not a woman alive who has not picked herself apart. And for me, it was a long time ago. I mean, gosh, I feel so old, like 30 years ago.
When I was only one.
When I was 1 year old, I really struggled with my weight as a baby.
I was so chubby.
But I carried that baggage with me for a long time, and I brought it into my marriage. I brought it, I brought it, and I think you do. You bring it in your relationships. And
absolutely.
Because I didn't want to talk about it with my friends because, again, it was like I didn't want to really stand out. I didn't want to be that person. Well, who's my safe person to talk about? Poor John. You know, and so I think I brought that baggage in to that relationship. And honestly, 30 years later, that baggage still sits in me, and it doesn't always come out, but it comes out probably more often than I care to admit. And, you know, like you were saying, there's often times where I feel like I'm probably the only one that thinks about food as much as I do, or I'm the only one that thinks about working out as much as I do, or, you know, I think...
Oh, I think about working out all the time.
Okay, good.
Think about it.
Well, there, see? We're just alike. We're just alike.
You know, I should go. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, good. I'm good. But you do. I think they're old wounds, and I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. But I can remember every single mean comment.
Oh, absolutely.
I honestly don't remember every mean Instagram comment that's ever been sent to me. I really don't. It maybe affected me for a split second in the moment, but I've let that go.
Yeah.
But I can remember, I mean, I could sit here with a list of every comment or scenario. We're talking 30, 35 years ago. I could tell you what I was wearing. I mean, it is fresh in my mind as anything. And so, I think it's something that, you know, that cliche that you never know what someone else is dealing with.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, I mean, I don't know, Katie, because this is not in the script. So this question has not been pre-approved by me. Okay.
No, just being a mama, because I'm not a mama.
Yeah.
I mean, like a teacher for years and years and years. So I felt like a mama because, you know, you love those kids like they're your babies. I even have one student I taught for 9 years. She's in college, living her best life, and she's like my baby. But my question to you is, being a mom and knowing those feelings of insecurity, like, do you talk about them with your daughter? Do you feel comfortable too? Like, like you could be like, you know, when she's feeling insecure and going through those things, that you could relate to her, or do you just...
Oh, yeah. I am very open, and I will share with her anything that I think is relative to the conversation. I try to say to her and to all of her friends, there is not a single girl in your grade that has not at one point felt insecure about something. Yeah. And unfortunately, that age doesn't see past that day.
Yeah, I know.
And they're very self-consumed, and they're equally as self-consumed as they are with what other people think of them and how other people judge them. And they don't want to stand out. Yeah. They don't want to be different. They just want to fit in, and they don't want to make a big fuss. And it's really, really, I keep thinking, I just need to get to high school. We just need to get to high school. I hope I am raising her with confidence. You know, John and I have always talked about this, which I think is just different having a girl versus a boy. But you know, she comes down every morning from school, every morning to get ready to go to school. As soon as she walks in the kitchen, he's like, well, if it isn't the most beautiful girl in the world. And listen, 9 out of 10 times he gets an eye roll back in return, but he says it every morning.
Oh, that means everything.
I know she can roll her eyes or she can go, Dad, but I know it's all just accumulating in the back of her mind. And I keep saying to her, I was like, don't peak in middle school. Don't peak in middle school. Yeah. Nobody wants to peak in middle school. Your best years are yet to come. And, you know, to us, obviously, she's so beautiful. And
she is beautiful.
She is beautiful.
And she has a beautiful heart too.
Yeah. But it's also, it's like you do want to tell them how beautiful it is, but then I'm also like, and you're also beautiful on the inside. Like you want to say that because I think too with a girl, your first instinct is to go, look how pretty you are.
Yeah.
Look how beautiful you are.
Yeah.
Look at you, so cute, right?
Yeah.
And we don't often enough talk about the insides or look how kind you were. Look what we used to try and win our kids when she was little, and I would say, if she would do something nice, I would say, did you see how happy you just made that person?
That's
trying
great.
to kind of, but then you're raising a tween in the age of social media and TikTok. And it's sometimes I feel like what I say is completely negated by social media, but I hope not. I hope not.
Freaking social media. I love it though. I'm so addicted.
You do, but you're good at it. That's why.
My selfie game needs to get a little stronger. I have to work on my duck lips.
Yeah.
I was just kidding. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore.
All right. So, Katie Kadan, you asked me what I would say to my daughter, her age group. What would you say to not even just a girl struggling like you, just because I think they're all struggling?
If you don't fit in, stand out.
I love that. I love that.
Stand out.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
If you don't fit in, stand out. And oh my gosh, I'm going to say something. So Adam Green Gables. Okay, remember? Okay. Like I remember what was it? Miss Stacy said, tomorrow there's no mistakes.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow's a new day.
Mm-hmm.
Try something different.
Yeah.
But don't be so afraid. Yeah. So what if you stand out? So what if you're tall? So what if you're fatter? So what if you're shorter? Whatever.
Yeah. Fear is a crippler. And I think if you're right, fear of putting yourself out there.
And if people say something mean to you, tell them, yo, rude. Have you learned manners?
Then you'll get a call.
Don't put your insecurities onto me. I ain't got time for that.
Mm-hmm.
Call them out on it.
Yeah. Agree.
Rather than, oh, that's what I did. Oh, God, I can't
kind of wilt away.
Now. I'm going to go wilt away or just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then walk away and, in a basket case. And then that grows.
It does grow.
It does.
I love that. What's coming up next for Katie Kadan? What's happening?
Oh, girl, I got some new...
What are we eating for dinner tonight? You're staying at my house.
Oh, my gosh.
What are we having?
Are we going in the hot tub later?
We are definitely going in the hot tub later.
I'm so excited. I'll bring my bikini.
Okay. You and me both. All right, what's next?
What's next? New music is coming out.
Okay.
Which I'm so excited about.
I'm excited because I might have heard a little bit already.
I'm so excited about it. I love it.
Yeah.
New music is coming out. New shows. I'm going to different cities. I just did a show in LA. I'm just excited for new stuff.
We'll check it. We'll put your website up and
Twitter,
your Instagram,
everything.
your Twitter, your TikTok. Are you a big TikToker?
Oh, girl, I'm a TikToker.
I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know this actually. No.
One
day I asked Ava.
Agree to be on this show.
I asked Ava. I said, "Do you think Mom should get a TikTok account?" And she said, "Please don't."
Now you have to.
I don't know. I mean,
and start doing those dances you can humiliate her.
Middle school's hard enough. She doesn't need a mom on TikTok dancing. That might send her right over the edge. We'd have to homeschool her for Mom joining TikTok. Well, have
your own private account though.
Okay, yeah, I'll just have my own. Just you and me. You can
totally.
be my only
We'll
follower.
do dances together.
We'll start tonight. Well, thank you so much for being here. And you are such a light. And I wish everybody could just experience your presence because, when you walk in the room, I just know I'm going to laugh or I know I'm going to smile. And you always just have a way of making people feel great in your presence. And I think even if they're not in your presence on social media, they feel that way, which is, I think, why you have such a great and loyal following. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks.
I hope I didn't swear too much.
You didn't. Katie Kadan, everybody.